Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Rob and I talk about high-end collectible comics and comics art. Subscribe if that's your kind of thing. I love to talk about comics and I post 1 or 2 videos a week doing just that. This video is going to be about the 2025 September 11th to 13th comic book signature auction from our friends at Heritage. This auction is crazy. I think I did 30 lots or something like that. There's a lot of notes here. There's a lot of comics. There's incredible art. Um, Yeah, this might be one of my favorite auctions of all time. I mean, it really might be because it's just silly. There's just silly, silly stuff in here. Um, so yeah, let's get to it. This one's going to take a while, so get some popcorn. I ask you to stay till the end because there's always a new crazy book or piece of original art everywhere you turn. I start with some incredible stuff, but I end with some incredible stuff as well. So you're gonna have to stick around to the end, which might require like popcorn and a glass of water and a coffee and a pillow and I don't know. You're gonna have to prepare for it because this one's gonna take a while. But let's do it. Hit Comics number 5, Mile High Pedigree, CGC 9.6, white pages, classic underwater Lou Fine cover. This book sold for $59,700 in 2017 and it will sell for more than that now. That's a crazy book. And as I've mentioned, the original art to this cover is also coming up for sale in September, which is mind-boggling. So somebody could walk away with the original art and the best copy of this book all within the span of a month. I wish it was me. I really do. Flash Comics number 1, first Flash, CGC 8.5, off-white pages, really nice copy. I mean, there's a little bit of a dust shadow, but otherwise, it's a really nice copy. Who knows what this one will sell for? The last book that sold above 8.0 was a 9.2 that sold for $182,000 June 16th, 2014. So there's some pent-up demand. I am hyped on this book. Pep Comics number 22, CGC 7.0. The last nice copy of this book sold in 2017. It was the CGC 8.0, and it sold for $252,100. There's some pent up demand for this incredibly difficult book, I'm sure. I'm really interested to see what the final price for this book will be. Pep 22, by the way, is easily the most difficult of the top 20 Golden Age keys. So keep your eyes on this one. It could go nuts. Additionally, this is from the Olympia collection, which I've talked about already in the video, and there are several Olympia books in this auction. This is, of course, the highlight. Archie Comics number 1, CGC 4.0, cream to off-white pages. I love this book. I do. I know it's had some troubles, but, you know, I've talked about 3.0s, like being trapped in this very small price range for like the last 15 years, which is a bummer. But I'm a fan of Archie. I'm sorry, I don't care. And yeah, I'm going to just keep talking about Archie number 1, and I'm certainly going to keep talking about Pep 22. But I'm going to talk about Archie number 1 until I'm blue in the face. The original art to this exists, by the way, just in case you were wondering. That's pretty crazy. This is another Olympia collection book, if I hadn't mentioned that. Okay, so the last comparable, this gorgeous 4.0, really nice 4.0, sold for $48,000 during the pandemic, which means something. I'm not sure what. Detective Comics number 29, another Olympia book, CGC VG minus, cream to off-white pages. Second Batman cover. Why is it a 3.5, you ask? And I'll tell you, spine split bottom of spine, spine split top of spine, which fine. I do not mind. I don't mind. The cover looks great, and it's Detective Comics number 29. So there you go. That's why I like these Olympia books. They're not the best book. I mean, that Pep 22 is about as good as it gets for that book. But I mean, a lot of these are just like mid grade, some high grade, but they're good for the grade, right? They're like, oh, it's a really good 3.5, right? If I was buying Detective 29, I would want to buy this one, especially raw. So this 3.5 sold for $66,000 April 4th, 2024. This is the first Namora I've shared on the channel, I think. Pretty sure. It's also the first church timely superhero that's not owned by the Verzals that I've shared. I'm sure of that because they're so rare. I've never shared the Captain America Comics #1 church copy, which of course they sold. Well, John sold when he was still with us. So there are a few church copies of, as I've mentioned, there are a few church timelies that are not in the Verzals collection, but this is a superhero copy. So I wonder what they have that's not the church copy, because this is an incredible looking 9.4. So this book sold for $9,000 March 5th, 2020, which seems like a result until you realize that it also sold for $15,000 August 1st, 2019. New Fun Comics #2, condition good. I am going to just read you, I don't do this normally, but this book is ridiculous. I'm going to read the heritage description. Most DC authorities agree that New Fun #2 is by far the rarest of all DC comics, wrote DC guru Gary Carter some years ago. And everyone's looking for it because it's the second comic book DC ever published. The innovation of New Fun was the use of original material rather than reprints from the Sunday Funnies. The series remains one of DC's mainstays, later known as More Fun Comics. Rated an almost unheard of 9, or very rare, on the Photojournal Guide to Comic Books Scarcity Index. Of just 3 unrestored copies we've ever offered of #2, this is the nicest. This is a good copy, okay? With brittle pages, spine splits, and a loose top staple. This is the best copy they've ever offered. Bonkers. The book is complete. Overstreet 2024 good value, $4,575. That's a crazy one. I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to read the heritage description because it's pretty good to give you context on this book. New Fun Comics #6, DC 1935. Condition fine, very fine. By the way, these are gigantic books. You cannot get them graded. They look like newspapers. This final issue of New Fun contains the first installment of Siegel and Schuster's Dr. Occult, a strip that would eventually introduce the famous Superman prototype in More Fun #14. Considered by many collectors to be as rare as the elusive New Fun #2, this is the nicest copy of this oversized tablet format comic that Heritage has ever offered. It contains Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's first commercial comic work. The Photojournal Guide to Comic Books rates it an 8, or rare, in its scarcity index, and it's currently listed as one of Overstreet's top 100 Golden Age comics. Overstreet 2024 fine value, $14,100. VF 8.0 value equals $33,000. There will be some interest in this book. First, somehow, this is the first Phantom Lady 17 I featured, and I took this screenshot like right when the auction opened, so I should have bid on this. So I would have been the high bidder. It would have been cool. You guys would have been think I was taking a run at this book. I'm not taking a run at this book. There are other classic covers that I would take a run at. This is actually not one of them, although it is. You got to share this occasionally, right? So there we go. Phantom Lady #17, classic cover, classic headlights cover, CGC 4.0. One thing I haven't shared or ever talked about, and I'm still working on that classic covers video and the rise of the value of classic covers. And this is, of course, the ultimate poster child for classic cover comics exploding in value. $456,000 for the Phantom Lady #17 Promise Collection copy, CGC 9.6. Now, this is a bubble result, but it is still $456,000 for Phantom Lady #17, which you are only buying for the cover. So it's definitely a poster child for that classic covers video. Thrilling Comics #64, Better Publications, CGC 9.4, off-white to white pages. I love this cover, so I wanted to share it for that. But I also wanted to mention, this book isn't like the other Better, Nador, Standard, because they changed the name of the publisher a bunch of times, apparently. But yeah, I've covered other books from this publisher, and I followed other books from this publisher. This particular copy is unlike the other ones, which exist in high grade. There are a lot of like 8.0s, 8.5s, 9.0s, 9.2s, etc. of those other books, including the big ones. This one, the only other 9.4 that sold was the church copy in 2012, April 21st, 2012, for $6,700. So we'll see how this one does. I like this copy. It's a shame there's a little dust shadow or something like that on the top right edge, or it's a little askew actually looking at it closely. Other than that, it pops really well, and that is a beautiful Alex Schomburg cover. There are a few Disney books I'm going to share today, which is not abnormal for the channel, but there's a few more than normal. Meaning like I share Disney books, but I'm sharing more than normal. This is another Olympia collection book. I'm a fan of this book in general and was happy to see this one pop up in the preview. Walt Disney Comics and Stories #1, Dell 1940 CGC 6.0. And it's a really nice looking 6.0, actually. There's a little tear on the right edge that if you squint, you'd miss it. And the image of Donald Duck is great. I love this book, and I've never shared it before. Richie Rich #1, CGC 9.4. Really nice looking copy. There's a lot of nice looking copies of this. This is a file copies book, so there are a lot of Richie Rich file copies out there. But who cares? Because it's a cool character and it's a great cover. I love the yellow, and I love the design of the cover. So this exact copy sold in July of 2022, July 26th of 2022, for $28,999. There has been a 9.6 of this book sold for over $100,000, which, in case you were wondering, I hadn't looked at this book results for this book in a couple of years. There is a $100,000 Richie Rich #1 sale. Showcase 22 Green Lantern first appearance CGC 7.5. What will this sell for? So we have a sale from 2023 for $31,800. We have a sale from 2022, quite a bubble result, for $50,728. 2020, we have two results for $20,495 and $14,667. And so where does this one land? Second highest graded. I talk about Showcase whenever they come up, how hard they are. And I remember just going back on the forum after a couple of years and seeing like this thread about somebody trying to put together a run of Showcase in 9.0 or better. And I was just like, is that even physically possible? Like, do the books exist? And I'm actually not quite sure. I should do a deep dive on that, but that would be another video I would add to the list of videos that I want to do. Anyways, second highest graded. There's a single 9.4. There are two 9.2s. And this is actually, I feel like this is an undervalued book. It's second Green Lantern. It's really hard to find, and it doesn't sell very often. So that's maybe one of the reasons that it kind of lags behind. The last copy of this book sold in 2013 for $13,202. So we'll see where this one goes. I think it'll be north of that, but we'll see. Showcase #36, The Atom, Bethlehem Pedigree. CGC 9.6. Off-white pages, which is pretty good for Bethlehem. And somebody hit the jackpot. You're not going to buy a house based on hitting the jackpot here. But they bought this book in 2023, June 24th, 2023. Showcase #36, The Atom, Bethlehem Pedigree, CGC 9.4. Sent it in, got a 0.2 bump. So we'll see. They're definitely going to do well versus a $1,320 original purchase price, even with the cost of pressing and grading a book of this value. I think I share this book a lot. I share this in 52 a lot. Tales of Suspense. Those are my two. I shouldn't say that. I like a lot of Tales of Suspense. I love 75 and 77. Obviously 59, 39, of course. But yeah, this one, I love this in 52, especially in the wake of the Avengers movies, which, was actually my Avengers team. Hawkeye was like part of my Avengers team from the 80s, brought him up to, where I believe he should be in terms of like being a primary Avenger. And I love Black Widows. So that's why 52 and 57. Anyway, this is the 9.6 to buy. If you're in the mood, in the market, in love with Hawkeye, want a 57, high grade, this 9.6 is the one to buy. I think it's great. It's off-white to white pages, but the cover is perfect. It's just perfect. This is a great book. I love this book. This is maybe my favorite book, like in terms of pure collecting appeal. for me in this whole auction, because this is something I would buy. Some of these other things which I'm going to go gaga about are not something I would ever even consider buying. Even if I won the lottery, I'm not going to buy, well, spoilers, a Silver Streak #6. But I would buy this for sure. I mean, even without winning the lottery, I would buy this. This book is crazy. Venom, Lethal Protector #1, CGC Mint 10.0. Okay, so with this old label, so this is an old label book, there are no records of this particular copy selling in GPA. So with that in mind, the consigner could literally have spent like $500, $200, hundreds of dollars, probably 25 years ago. The last 2 copies of this book sold for over $10,000. By the way, there are 11 tens of this book, which is crazy since it's submitted a lot. And the cover stock is a pretty good candidate for tens. I haven't owned many, and I'm not like an expert on this book, but I remember looking at the book and being like, this is a very solid cover. And I'm surprised that there are only 11 tens of this book. There are like 40 or 50 9.9s, which, I mean, those are big numbers, but I actually would expect more because the cover stock is kind of designed to just be perfect. And, probably a fifth of the print run has been submitted at this point. That's an exaggeration, but a lot of these books have been submitted. So I don't know. And actually, if you know anything about Venom Lethal Protector and why it doesn't get as many tens as you would expect, please let me know. There are some books, like I can talk to you about Omega Man #3. I've owned a box. I literally owned a long box of Omega Man #3, first Lobo. And I just know from looking at that book that the cover flakes. It's cardstock, but the way it was put together, the edges flake, and so it just never looks right. And I'm assuming that's why it's never gotten above a 9.9. I mean 9.8. So, but I don't know what's going on with Venom Lethal Protector, but somebody might know. Frank Frazetta, the Frank Frazetta, Kubla Khan Portfolio Plate #3, 1975. I love this drawing. This drawing has been, reprinted a lot. It's a very popular image in the kind of Frazetta sphere. And yeah, wow. Whoever's coming home with this one, congratulations, because you've got a classic. Rob Liefeld, X-Force #2. Deadpool, second appearance issue. Story, page 5, original art. Nice Deadpool image there. I love this. I love being the guy that like catalogs the church collection, does weeks of research on the Allentown pedigree, and then I love to share the Liefeldiest Liefeld pages from the early 1990s that I could find. I love sharing this stuff. It drives some of you crazy. Some of you love it. I know. I don't even like the guy's art that much. I liked him initially and then kind of got tired of him, but I remembered how cool it was to see his art originally, and I know that people love his art. So I'm going to keep sharing it, and I hope you enjoy it, even if you're not like a super fan of his style, because the guy had impact. Deadpool, that is impactful. That is a crazy character to have created. And Cable, I mean, like he did pretty well for himself. I always get a little dumbstruck by these early DC covers. Fred Ray, Action Comics #45, Superman cover, original art, DC 1942. And this one is pretty nice. So there's a lot of white opaque used to cover up some mistakes, but the underlying white page, the actual paper, hasn't aged that much. So the white opaque doesn't look that bad. It can sometimes look pretty jarring. Even with art from the 70s or 80s that's browned, and you see the white opaque on top of it, it just looks like white on top of brown, and it's really distracting. This is not. This looks great. I would love to see this one in hand as well. So Barry Windsor Smith, Marvel Comics presents 81 Wolverine Weapon X splash page. This is one of the greatest Wolverine images of all time from one of comics' greatest artists. This is somebody's grail. It's probably 20 people's grail. I have no idea what this will sell for. I just have no idea. The Weapon X was such a classic series. It wasn't even classic in terms of the story because whatever, but the art was so good. And to have Barry Windsor Smith at the height of his powers working on Wolverine was incredible. And this is an example of that. I mean, look at the detail of this page. It's unbelievable. Dave Gibbons, Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan, Portfolio, and Promotional Illustration, Original Art. I love this one. I think it's a really nice illustration of, kind of the pivotal character in Watchmen, or one of the pivotal characters, obviously. Every character is pivotal because it's Watchmen. But I really like this one. I love the Who Watches the Watchmen, kind of thrown in there, some random graffiti inside Dr. Manhattan's kind of sanctum sanctorum. John Romita Jr. and Al Williamson, the Al Williamson, Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, #5, splash page original art. This is an incredible Daredevil image from John Romita Jr. and Al Williamson. So, I'm going to love this one. Alex Ross, Marvel's #3, Galactic Splash, page 18, original art, Marvel 1994. Okay. I love Marvels in general. It's one of my favorite miniseries of all time. This is my favorite issue from the series because, of course, it is the Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Galactus. And this is one of my favorite pages from that issue. In fact, the human's eye view, the ant's eye view of Galactus, who is basically a god, the human's eye view of Galactus shown here is basically the whole point of the series. Like, that's the whole point, is this. And it's distilled in the pivotal moment in the development of Marvel Comics. Like, to me, Fantastic Four 48 is the most important Marvel book. That's in my universe, the way that I look at Marvel Comics, because the cosmic thing in Marvel became such a big deal, and it started here. You don't have Guardians of the Galaxy without Galactus, right? So for me, this is like the ultimate page from Marvels, and I adore it. I love it. Alex Schomburg, Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide #21, The Invaders cover original art. This is a painting by Alex Schomburg of the Invaders, Captain America. As you can guess, this is like one of my favorite Overstreet covers. It's also from a period that I was like really into being a comic dealer, selling comics. I was traveling around the Northeast, going to comic conventions, like 18, 19, 20 years old, like being a total geek, and it was great. And meeting a lot of people that I still know, actually, which is fun. And yeah, learning a lot about the hobby and learning a lot about, what it takes to be a comic dealer, which is funny because I don't do it very much anymore. At least out in the world. I obviously sell on eBay. But heck yeah, great cover. Amazing Spider-Man #1, CGC 9.2. We're back to comics. The last two of these sold for $168,000, so we'll see. Fantastic Four #5, CGC 9.4, one of my favorite books. As we know, I've made it official. The last one sold for $162,000 in 2022, which is like which should be a bubble result, but the last 292 sold for well over $100,000. So realistically, you would look for maybe $200,000 for this book. Bob Storms has a 9.6 listed for $365,000. So even if you extrapolate back from that, we're looking at maybe like 175 or 180, which is, above and beyond that 162. We'll see. 4-color #16, Mickey Mouse. First Mickey Mouse comic, CGC 7.0. I mentioned I was going to show some more Disney stuff, and here we go. This is one of those things that when I started to do some research, I learned a little bit. There are other pamphlets that feature Mickey Mouse, but this is the first official newsstand, no argument comic book that features Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse outwits the Phantom Blot. I love this book. Donald Duck finds pirate gold. First, Carl Barks on Donald Duck, which, there you go. Now, I know, and I've talked about it, and I've actually made a point of talking about it. Carl Barks is not what he used to be inside the hobby. That's just a fact. But the thing is, he's still great. Like, Carl Barks is still amazing. And he's got an incredible legacy in the hobby. So you got to appreciate a book like this for sure. Detective Comics #35, CGC 5.0. This is a sharp-looking 5.0. The last 5.0 sold for $40,000 more than a decade ago. This killer 5.0 will do way better than that. If you're in the market for one of these books, take a run at this one. It looks to me like it's beaten up because of the spine and the lower left-hand corner looks kind of ugly, but you have to look close. If you're looking at that image of Batman and the hypodermic cover, if you're looking at the Batman image, you're not going to notice that kind of frayed lower left-hand corner. Nice looking book. Here's one I haven't shared before, which seems insane, but they don't sell very often. Marvel Mystery Comics #9, key issue, classic cover, Submariner, Human Torch, battle issue. What? Crazy. The last 6.0 sold for $18,200 in 2011. So this one will pass that. We also had the Larson copy, which is also a 6.0, sold in 2010, May 20th, 2010, for $22,705. And I think there's some room to run beyond $22,000 for a 6.0 in 2025. Here's a cool book. Overstreet Comics #6, First Claw, Mile High Pedigree, Edgar Church, CGC 9.6. Looking through GPA, the last kind of semi-recent sale in unrestored condition is this book. So a 4.5 sold for $33,777 in March 20th of 2024. What is a 9.6 Church copy worth if you're going to extrapolate out from a 4.5 selling for nearly $35,000? I don't know. It could be a lot of money. It is also the Claw, which is not, Batman, but it's also the Claw. It's like just a really cool character and a great kind of pocket of comics, right? So some of those Gleason books are cool, and certainly Daredevil and Silver Streak, Claw, all kind of fun stuff. So I'm a fan. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a popcorn book, hopefully. Wonder Comics #1, Fox, 1939. Will Eisner was involved in this, which I always talk about. They were sued for this because the character was too much like Superman, which is hilarious because there have been tens of thousands of Superman clones. DC has Superman clones, right? Like they have like multiple ones as they like buy they bought Wildstorm, right? So they have multiple Superman clones in just one shared universe. So it's fine. They won this lawsuit, so they must have been happy back in 1939. This particular copy sold for $54,970 in 2016. And before that, it sold for $68,712.50, May 15th, 2014. And we're going to end with a couple of books that I love. You know I love them. You love them too. Detective Comics #1, CGC 6.5, Apparent Fine Plus, Slight to Moderate Restoration, off-white pages. This book presents really well. Now, obviously, you can see restoration better in hand. There's some tricks you can do with Photoshop, but I haven't done that with this book. Otherwise, without doing that, without getting the book in hand, I think this one looks really nice. And it's restored, so it's not going to cost you what a 6.5 would cost you, which would be a lot of money, because it's nearly the best copy of this book. Anyway, classic book. It gave DC the DC. Speaking of what more can I say? Detective Comics #31, CGC 6.0. Again, slight to moderate restoration. And classic cover. If this one is on your want list, and it's on everyone's want list, it should be. Whether or not you can afford it, just put it on there just in case. Yeah, I mean, for a restored copy, this one presents really well. You're buying it. Well, I mean, this is Batman, so you are actually buying it for the interiors, because like all these early detectives had like 5 key notations, but you're buying this one for the cover because it might be the most classic cover of all time, and the cover looks great. So again, I know some people that watch this channel have this book on their want list. So if you're into it, go for it. Let me know. I will shout you out in the recap video. I will congratulate you personally. I totally will, because yeah, it's one of those books. And with that, I'm done. Thank you. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share with your friends. Comment about what you like in this auction. I think there's a lot of fun stuff in this one for sure. Comments about what you think I missed, because I left a lot of books on the cutting room floor here. There's a great like All-Star 8 2.0, which is like, it's like one of my dream books and in exactly that condition. There's a nice Wonder Woman 1, etc. There's a lot that I could have covered, and I just didn't because there's just so much good material. So let me know what I missed. Up next, I've got some auction stuff because it's a busy auction season. And I've got some project work that's going to be coming onto the channel soon, I hope. So we'll see. That classic covers video is going to be a fun one. I'm working on it. Hopefully it'll be out, within the next couple of weeks, maybe sooner if I'm lucky, maybe later if I'm not lucky. But that's the way these things go. Comics never stops. And so I'm always reacting to things that happen in the hobby. Anyway, thank you once again. I appreciate you guys. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I will see you in the next one.